Law once again, prepare for Dan Law.
I can't do that with my drum set.
Would you maybe have one single?
So I got extra pieces for it, but it's electronic. So
it's electronic. I was gonna say,
listen,
I got snare from across the room.
I got it hooked up to the mixer. I could do it if I wanted to. Wait.
No, I would not request that from you.
No, I won't. I'd have to go around and grab the wires, and every time I grab the wires, the dogs are like, "Oh, I could chew on that." Now, to be fair, he's only 9 months, but like the puppy, I don't know what I'm doing here. You asked, and I said yes.
It's all a series of figuring it out. It's an ever-evolving process. That's why it's evolving with me.
You're gonna come evolving with Cory. Got it. It's like when Marissa asked me to bring on President Steve. I was the first thing I said was, "Slow news week." Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Slow news week.
It's good to finally be with you. It's only been 28 years in the making. It's not been that long, but it feels like it. It's wrestling.
So when did you first get yourself involved with wrestling?
Okay, so
I know, like being a fan, you can say you've been a fan forever, but when did you first get like to where like
I was gonna say as far as a fandom, my first show was WrestleMania. Idiot! It was Halloween Havoc '89.
Okay,
it's Philly Civic Center, garbage building. I'm sure you know of. It's not there anymore. And I was 6.
Yeah, I wasn't a wrestling fan yet at that point.
I don't know how it happened.
I wasn't a wrestling fan yet at that point. You and I are the exact same age. I got into wrestling. Like I give credit to my fandom to Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart WrestleMania.
That'll do it.
And then not too long after that, I haven't done the research, but I know not too long after that was the first Hell in a Cell. Shawn Michaels
that's I don't know, it's 5-6 months later. Yeah.
So I think that after I saw that match and Kane debuted, I was like, all right, I can't miss a week of this ever again.
I'm diving into this. I think my aunt was a fan. And my mom and I are not sure if she's dead or if she's actually alive. But we get messages from her, we think, every now and then. But she was a wrestling fan in the sense she watched wrestling, but one time she thought Psychosis under the mask was Shawn Michaels.
I mean,
just
the size wise,
sure.
And I guess it could make sense. Dude, I've learned as being a long-haired man myself that you get, as a long-haired man, you get compared to every other long hair. Everybody else that has long, especially if they have the same facial hair, like if they have similar facial hair, similar hair, like you automatically get compared to every other long-haired guy. I mean, I'm not complaining about it, but I'm saying,
I was gonna say
there's no complaints.
I get Chris Farley. I have a couple complaints about that. I'm not dead, and I'm also not that fat.
Well, I mean, Chris Farley's awesome. I mean,
yeah, but I can fit into this coat, kind of. That's why I don't have a button. You'll never know. Or do I have a button? You'll never know. No, I got into wrestling with ECWA with Dean Dixon. Started HIAC Talk Radio together, and he went to a show, started interviewing guys. We started, we would interview them together.
Does that full circle? Is it HIAC? Is that Hell in a Cell?
It absolutely is Hell in a Cell Talk Radio.
And we were just talking about Hell in a Cell.
Okay, we're done, everybody. Good night.
Full circle. Bye. Have a great night.
5 minutes.
All right. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
It's not even 10 minutes. So it's not even 5.
We were literally under 5 minutes, and it's over, folks.
Okay, bye.
we started interviewing Kekoa Papadon, and Papadon and I started having a tiff.
Oh,
air quotes. I do this thing where I hate dead air. And anybody knows Papadon, he still to this day cuts a awesome promo, probably one of the best promos anybody's ever cut. But every now and then, barely, there'd be a second, and I try to finish a sentence, and I didn't do it on purpose the first time, but he healed me. He went heel. What are you doing? Shut up!
On the radio show.
Oh yeah, he went.
He was
totally
cutting a promo on the radio show. Or was it?
Well, I mean, we'd interview. He'd do his promo in the middle of an interview when we'd bring up a match.
Okay.
A great interview too. I actually miss talking to him every now and then.
I have zero unkind things to say about Papadon. I love,
especially because he'd kicked me with his feet. You know, I had to kiss his foot.
That's where people normally kick you with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I meant the shin guards is what I was trying to. I had to kiss his foot once because of this incident, but I did it once by mistake, and then it was kind of like wrestling, where it's kind of like the other side of wrestling in the ring, where you do something, you go, "Oh, that got a reaction." So once I got the reaction from him, I'm like, every time it comes on, I'm gonna interrupt him because it just starts shit. Am I allowed to curse?
Yes, of course.
Oh, yeah, I could. My bad. And so I would
it's
do
never
it.
Evolving.
I would do it very good. I would do it every time he came on, and any other heel, I would play the good guy, and Dean would play the bad guy. And it got to the point where they were inviting us to do shows, and I mean, like, promote the show, have different other guys on. We had Tartaglia on, we had Joe Zanoli on. I'm blanking on his name. My God, he was with TWA for years. Glenn, no, Gary,
Osborne?
no. Oh my God.
Goodhart?
Joel Goodhart. My God, my brain. Joel Goodhart is an amazing interview and an amazing person, and never breaks character, even when he does break character. Air quotes. I love that man. I love his.
We unfortunately have not spent a whole hell of a lot of time talking to each other, but every interaction we've ever had, I've liked. I like the guy. I have nothing bad to say about him.
We went to, my favorite, when people ask me how Joel is, I just tell this story. We were at the aforementioned off-air Dove Diner, which has the best mozzarella sticks in the Delaware Valley. I'm a fat guy, for those who are listening. Trust me, they are the best. And they're like logs, if that gives you but he was across the way with his table, and we're at ours, and we just say, "Hey, Joel," and he comes over and cuts a promo in the middle of the diner. Middle of this restaurant, and I'm like, "That's Joel Goodhart, everyone." But we would interview everybody, and we'd start working with Brady Hicks a lot and doing stuff with him, and he was one of the. I believe
also been on this show
player.
before. Been on my show, Brady Hicks,
and vice versa. I've been on his show many times. I helped produce a couple of his shows in the mid 2010s. I started WCW Retro at his idea. It was Brady's idea with Maestro.
It was here in this house. He was at my house, and we were recording a podcast, and I convinced him to propose to his girlfriend. I did that. Nice. His now wife.
That's your fault.
Convinced him. It was me. It was my fault. I made Brady propose to his girlfriend here on my show.
Sorry. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I think that was pre-pandemic. That was probably because he was in my room with me, not in this room, in my bedroom. We were recording. It was just audio. It was just audio recording.
Sure, it was. No,
in the room with Brady
Hicks. Yes. And I think before one of the shows, it was the second or third show. Oh God, it was their War Games match they had in 2012. Excuse me. And I said, can I break kayfabe here?
I mean, whisper.
I said to Papadon, why don't you? Because a lot of people were listening at the time, especially around that area, who were coming to the show or were already going to the show.
Right.
Hey, Papadon, if you get a chance, smack me or push me while you're at ringside. And he goes, see how I feel. And sure enough,
you saw how he felt.
Sure enough, He takes his whole hand and pushes me about 6 rows back. And of course, as I go back, I think I need to sell it. So I sell it, but he has the strength of 3 men. So he throws me back anyway without me having to, my glasses go flying. It was beautiful. And I was like, well, if that's all I ever do, I'll be fine with that. It's on their DVD. He just hit that ticket buying fan. Play. Yeah, we worked with them for a little while. We started working with so 2012 is your answer. And anybody knows you, and now they are listening to me. We talk a lot, and we're going to keep going for a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we started doing business with New Moon Rising.
Okay.
And that was Dean started there, and I said, "Hey, is there anything I could do?" And I just kind of jumped in head first.
I never got into that circle, but I know those guys. I know Bishop, and I know his
Jake.
I knew I was very adjacently involved. Like I wasn't ever a part of any of that. It was like
your name came up somehow because I remember talking about it.
I wasn't
in a good
involved
way, not in a bad way.
No, hopefully, but maybe it was a part of that conversation of like, yeah, nobody likes him for some reason.
No,
nobody.
No.
He's unprofessional. He comes here wearing custom made gear and showing up on time and calling matches with good psychology. No, we don't like him. Don't book him.
Isn't that how it goes? No, Jake Bishop's great.
Oh yeah, I mean, we get along great.
I miss that guy.
I
miss that is the one. Okay, so the fast forward a little bit when for anybody who does know who I am and questions me, there was when Damian Priest became U.S. champion the first time, or maybe it was his debut. I don't remember. And I said, man, I wanted Damian Priest to be New Moon Rising champion, and the booker wouldn't do it. Something really innocuous and kind of shitty like that.
Right.
And a guy who doesn't even follow me, who I don't like anymore, and doesn't like me, but that's why he always reads my tweets.
That's the key demographic for your
tweets. He ratted me out. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay. And so Jake and I went back and forth. Now, you know Jake.
Mm-hmm.
I know Jake. Mm-hmm. Jake's a big motherfucker. Mm-hmm. I'm not that big.
Mm-hmm.
And to my credit, I said, you know what? I was wrong, by the way. The reason why he wasn't champion, which is information I didn't know, because he didn't want to be champion. He didn't want to be that guy. Well, he was doing his tag team thing with.
There was a little confusion between like the factory at that time and New Moon at the time.
Oh, confusion is a good word for it, my friend.
So I rather keep hands
hot hate, brother.
Rather keep hands clean of that whole entire situation, and especially Lou being like the guy there.
Yes, exactly. No, it was red hot heat. It was you could cut that with a knife. But not even talk about that. It was a detail I forgot or I didn't know about. The point was very publicly I said my bad, and then I called him, and then I texted him and said, "That's my fault. I'm sorry." Mm-hmm. The apology, something wrestling doesn't do, is have apologies. Mm-hmm. All because a guy who doesn't like me anymore doesn't follow me. He read my tweet.
Just the tweet. It's not even. It's not like you did anything. It's not like you. It's not.
I didn't motherfuck anybody.
Right. You didn't screw anybody over. It's just a tweet. Everybody has opinions sometimes, and sometimes not everyone's gonna. Dude, how entitled of a world do we want to live in where everybody only hears the opinions that they want to hear and is told the things that they want to hear? Like, people are going to say things about me I don't like sometimes, and I'm going to say things about other people that they don't like sometimes. That's just like part of being a person in the world.
Well, Cory, you're insane for thinking that logically. How about that?
hey, you better get off your high horse of talking about how other people say things.
I only want to hear things that I want to hear. God damn it. Yeah, I don't know.
How dare you say things I don't want to hear.
I didn't think it was that bad, but correct me when I'm wrong. I'm okay with that too. It's not like I was sitting there and doubling down like, fuck you, you're wrong. And he was going, no, I'm the one that decided it.
Well, you didn't. One more time. This is another thing, because I've also recently had a falling out over a tweet that I said. I'm like, I wasn't specific. I didn't call you out by name. I didn't tag you in this thing. I said a booker. I said a promoter. I said independent wrestling. I didn't say your company. I didn't say anything about you. Shut up, you little bit. Like, I just, I don't understand the butthurt feelings. Like, we're in a tough guy business. We're supposed to be tough people. And if we can't take somebody saying a thing we don't like you've gotten yourself in the wrong thing.
I don't, how do I say this without getting, and this is, and just to be clear, this is not about Jake Bishop. Jake Bishop's awesome.
No, this
Jake
is
awesome.
Not specific to Jake or any of those guys. This is just we're adult men.
Well,
like,
what I was about to say is, and nothing. What I'm about. The following sentence is, I am not attaching this to Jake Bishop. Jake Bishop is a stand-up guy and probably one of the better men in wrestling compared to almost damn near everybody else. Wrestlers are some of the softest motherfuckers I've ever met in my life. Am I allowed to say that? You're a wrestler.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it. I
watched the business happened,
when
dude?
I got into it versus the business now has become the softest baby butthurt bull since the beginning of time. I don't understand what like when you and I was recently having I was watching a match on AEW with my friend James. My friend James was over here and we were hanging out, and I was saying, like, I remember when I was a kid and I'd watch wrestling and I'd go, I bet you any one of these dudes could beat the crap out of my dad. I remember thinking about that, about any of those guys in the business. When I was a kid, I was like, any of these guys could beat my dad's ass, any of my uncle's asses. These guys would whoop them in a fight. Watching this product on TV, I was like, I couldn't go, oh, any of these guys would whoop me. Or any of these guys would whoop any of my friends. And I was like, it doesn't have the illusion of a combat sport when, like, any weak, soft, like, baby can do it. Anybody who gets their feelings hurt from a tweet or an opinion said on a podcast, like, if you want to say bad things about me, cool. Sure. Let's make it mean something. Let's do something with it. Let's learn together. Let's earn together. Let's draw houses. Let's put asses in seats. Instead, you'll blackball me forever. You'll gatekeep me because you don't want to hear words that you don't want to hear. Like, am I the problem? Because you're
Cory. Look, I'm going to tiptoe around this just to double down on what you're saying. The issues between that one place that we mentioned off air began because one of their employees, who was the cameraman, was verbally going after fans that were both going to, I almost dropped the name, New Moon Rising shows and this other place that were booked on the same weekend, on the same days sometimes. And this person also would, like, he showed up to a couple of play events and started, like, not shoving matches, but would say shit to these folks. So I'm told, allegedly.
Right.
Now, I say also allegedly because the record has since been wiped, but for about 15 years, he was also on a registered list online somewhere, if you get my drift.
PDF file.
Slightly PDF. And I said to them, if you're going to continue to, employ this guy at your family friendly show, maybe it's best he keep his mouth shut. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned and shared that information with them, tiptoeing, and their response was, well, Snook is known to have killed his girlfriend. Should we stop booking him? And I said, yes. Anyway,
apples and oranges.
That's a true story. It's a true story. He said that to me, and I said, "Huh?
That's no justification." Also, if we're talking about,
yes,
we're talking about like, all right. So,
yes,
people getting offended by things that others say on social media. I noticed in this one company that I was working in that there was managers in every match. And I was like,
oh,
and I was like, why is there so many managers? And I found out that the plan was they were trying to book me in a faction full of managers. And I was like, I posted a thing and I said, I've been bumping and paying dues in this business more time than I haven't been in this business in my life. I'm going to take all the bumps. I want to get all the heat. Don't let this person convince you that they have worth and steal my heat. Like, you're not trusting your heels if you're putting managers in every match. And then one of the people we were talking about earlier, then like got offended and then commented like, oh, why don't you use that experience to help somebody else? Why this person who's going to steal my heat? Why? It doesn't make any sense. Just let me be a heel. Give me the fucking ball and let me run with it. I'm a talent.
Make it make sense.
Yes. Let it make sense to me. And then once I did that, always had a problem and was booked underneath and never given the ball. And always put in the beginning of the show, and always,
we're not allowed to talk about this. We're bitter.
Kept down until I went, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm not doing this anymore. This is not good for my energy. This is not helpful to who I want to be. And at that time, I didn't even have this platform. I didn't even have the vulnerability that I have with people and telling them how I truly feel. I didn't have the ability to do that. So I wasn't even truly an evolved guy yet. I've evolved since then.
When you pull yourself back from our situation,
the world is way bigger. Yes.
Well, but also, of course, there's things I wish I did differently. Like when that stuff started happening, and we realized that we were going to have a problem, was the day I had 103 fever. It was the first day I was sick in years. So my filter was off, and I might have called him a schmuck in public on social media, and that pissed them off. It could have. There's a couple things that could have been done differently.
Sometimes you got to call a schmuck a schmuck.
Hey, nobody asked me. Nobody called me. All I heard was that next show I was talked about on the microphone. I said, all right, it's gonna be like that. Okay then.
I mean, who does that matter to? And what issue did that help? Did that help put asses in seats? Did that cause drama for a TV show? Did that advance Cory, the show in any way?
Let's just say so. Yes.
Hey,
so
get your logic out of this.
Yeah, I want to say yes to keep my ego. No, it didn't. But you know what it did do? It took all those fans that we had with them and made them go, oh, and not come with us on our ride anymore.
Why don't you talk to us about a personal issue you have with a person who we don't know who they are? Sure, go ahead. Like, we've lost interest. It's so hard to keep people's interest already in this world.
Excuse me, I have to yell at my puppy. Off. Albert. Yes, his name's Albert. No. Get off. Sorry.
Does he have a really hairy back and is the head coach at the performance center?
No. Well, yes, he has a hairy back. He's a dog.
Right. But he's not the coach at the performance center.
No, he's not a coach at the performance center. He's a little wiener dog. This is Albert, everyone. Sorry about that. But yeah, so we're not allowed to talk about these things because we're just bitter old men. No, these things just happen, and we're talking about them. We're laughing about it. And yes, both of our stories have the same catalyst, Big Mouth.
But but the thing is, man, I'm just a
dude.
I'm like I'm a silly guy. I'm a comedian. I'm also a comedian, but I'm on top of that a wrestler. You know what I mean? Like I've been around and I've seen things. I know what works and I know what doesn't. And I don't see the point in circling around backwards and blackballing people because they hurt your feelings with an opinion. Like it's just a part of it, man. I mean, people have been hurting my feelings with opinions since I was a little kid, and they'll continue to do it for the rest of my life. That doesn't mean I'm going to go, don't talk to me about who you are or your opinions. And like,
listen, when I'm honest about my opinions, I get told 20 times I'm fat, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Thank you for telling me. Is that I didn't know. You know what? Because you said that, I'm going to turn a new leaf. I'm gonna change for you. Mm-hmm. Anyway, no, it's I worked with to wrap it back up. Worked with New Moon, and then it basically became an availability thing. They were in Jersey. I was in Pennsylvania. I was in Virginia. They were in Jersey. There was a bit of a rehook back up in 2018, which fizzled out very quickly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, I wish New Moon Rising was still around today. Whether or not I was involved has nothing to do with that. I really wish New Moon was doing really good stuff with Joe Gacy, Matt Tremont, Xavier Cross, Loudy. Shout out to Loudywood. A lot of people that went on to On Point in the early days, On Point Wrestling. And I don't think it was New Moon didn't get a fair shot with everything else going on around it. Super Crazy kind of evolved from that. And I'm not, I haven't seen an update from them in a while. I hope Super Crazy's doing okay with Darren and everybody. Yeah, no, there's no ill will there. If it is, it's on there. It's on. Well, I know the one dude, the one dude that's important doesn't. The other one, I don't give a shit if he's angry or upset or whatever, how much stands up his asshole. It's not my problem. I'm too old to care. Right, Albert?
For the people who are checking out this show and don't know at all what Super Crazy is, and don't know at all what these wrestling companies, don't know what New Moon. This is such a level of independent wrestling that like isn't mainstream knowledge.
Yes. So that's another good point.
So like let's zoom out a little bit and go, oh, maybe I'm taking myself too seriously with if we're going to dissect everything that's said on a podcast or said on a tweet, like,
it has and it still does. Contrary to their own words, it's not my ego. I see their tweets and their messages. I know what's going on. Some of them that hit the follow button by mistake instead of back. You're there.
I don't know if you know. When I was in ECWA, I was a brain surgery survivor, man. I had just come back from brain surgery and I was killing it. You know what I mean? Like that's how are you not marketing that? How are you not like seeing me for the potential that I can be in your company? But I hurt your little feelings with a Facebook post.
Hey, shout out to Joe Zanoli. He is the reason I am called the above average comedian. It was very sarcastic. Now, and I'm still living off that name because people will come on, when I suggest that perhaps trans people should have rights. and they call me a groomer. You're not very funny, above average comedian. I'm like, oh, somebody doesn't get irony, do they? Oh, that's unfortunate. Sarcasm lost you. That's the whole joke.
No,
it's not very funny.
My aunt used to be a groomer. She would cut dogs' hair.
I knew it. I knew you were going there. I knew it. I mean, technically, I'm a groomer because I literally work at a dog training facility and I will bathe dogs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There
you go.
Yeah. You're welcome, internet.
Like, I mean,
oh man, man, let's talk about happy things. I was hit in the back of the head, the back of the back with a chair by Matt Tremont doing a commercial once. That was fun. Cool. You know what the dumb idea was? I asked him to do it twice. Because I said, what does it feel like? Tell me what it feels like first. I was like, oh, that's uncomfortable. And I was like, I could do it. And then on the second one, which was actually recorded, I landed on my elbow on the concrete floor. That was fun. So I had to pretend I was knocked out and not scream, ah! As they were cutting the shot. Right on the concrete. Elbow first. You know what? Matt Tremont's worked that little building he's got, and H2O run. What do they run? Like 4 other shows out of that building now. 4 other companies, air quotes.
Yeah,
it looks stellar on camera now. And he, you know, anybody will admit it. When they first started, he's just the side of a little warehouse, kind of like where New Moon was.
It was Jim Alano's building.
Yes, it was Jim Alano. Yeah. Correct. Thank you for that. I forgot all about those days. I'm old.
I was there back then. A
few times.
I did I did whatever the show Jim was booking.
Old Time Wrestling.
Yeah, that I was doing commentary on his shows when I had brain surgery and I couldn't wrestle. I was practicing doing commentary.
Can you stretch while I put my dog in the crate?
Oh yeah, look at this stretching, brother.
Stretching, brother. Come on, you're being bad, man. I need you to lock up for another half hour while I talk to Cory. For those wondering and are upset, he's a 9-month-old dachshund, otherwise known as wiener dogs, and they're assholes. Mm-hmm. And he won't listen to me right now, so he gets to have a timeout. He'll chew on his sister's ear for 5 minutes until she tells him no, and then they'll both go to sleep. Anyway, sorry about that, dudes.
You got nothing to be sorry about, man.
Life be
lifing. So, in all the podcasts that you've done, and all the times that you've been interviewed on podcasts or podcasts that you've interviewed people, all in shoot. So I'm not saying any kind of like kayfabe, no gimmicks, nothing. It's all shoot. What's something that you've never been asked that you think would have been cool had you been asked?
Oh God, I was not prepared for that question. I don't know. Wow. Cory, I don't have an answer for that. If somebody would test my knowledge on Ghostbusters or the band Genesis, that's what I wish.
If you wish that someone would have asked you more
something about Ghostbusters or Genesis, like a
pop quiz.
My dad said I was full of useless information, but it literally stank my wife. So,
okay, let me ask you a question about Ghostbusters.
Go ahead.
In Ghostbusters 2, when the lady said she saw a ghost at a hotel, what town was that hotel in?
Oh, the Paramus Holiday Inn. It was an alien.
Yeah.
Come on. I received a message from an alien. It was at the room at the Paramus Holiday Inn. I was having a drink at the bar alone, and this alien approached me. He started talking to me. He bought me a drink, and I think he used some kind of array or a mind control device because he forced me to follow him to his room. And that's where he told me about the end of the world. And it just cuts back to Bill Murray and Peter Bateman going, So your alien had a room at the Holiday Inn, Paramus. Come on.
I can't quote the movie quite as well. I mean, I maybe only saw Ghostbusters 2 one time, and that was the first time I ever heard of Paramus, New Jersey.
Paramus, New Jersey, yeah.
Only time I had ever heard of it before that.
And that Holiday Inn, I'm such a nerd that I'm pretty sure I read an article where that Holiday Inn was torn down like 2 years ago, and it's now a Comfort Inn or something. Wow, I'm such a loser. If I didn't own 2 homes and was married, I'd be such a loser. Fuck you, internet.
So now that I've asked you a question that you've never been asked, I'll switch it around, and you can ask me a question
How difficult was it to interview Steve Morrison?
How difficult was it?
Yeah.
Do you ask because
oh no, he's great.
You're gonna interview Steve Morrison?
No, I'm not. I would never I would never presume to get him on my show.
The thing is, man, I'm gonna kind of do a little shooty thing here for a second. I don't find it difficult to do interviews because I don't feel like I'm doing interviews as much. I feel like I'm just chatting, and if I stay genuine and I stay authentic, people can smell that, people can read that, people can feel that, and this is maybe my favorite thing I've ever done is do these shows. And if I can get somebody to agree to do it, who like Steve Morrison is somebody who might be a big deal to some people, but maybe not to all people. But also, like and he gets that. I came up in the wrestling business. So I've been meeting people who are like oh my gosh, like that in my head. And I was taught to not mark out when I was young. That's part of the etiquette of wrestling. Like my wrestling coaches, John Dahmer and Eddie Valentine, they made it a point to go, never be a mark. And you would get made fun of and shamed for being a mark if you were in this business, because there's an unsigned, like an unwritten rule that like this barricade here that separates the fans from the performers, you want to stay on the side where the wrestlers are. And if you look like you're a mark, then you don't belong on this side. That was the etiquette in the beginning. When I first broke in, that was what we were taught. And I it's, the business has changed a little bit where that's a little bit more relaxed now. And I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. But I definitely did have that phrase of like, nobody is above me. Nobody is. And then I'm not saying that because I think I'm above everybody else, but I think that like anybody, no matter how famous they are, no matter how successful they are, no matter what, what they've done or invented or whatever, they're just another person who's on the same journey, but their version of it.
Yeah. Man, what's it like to have that kind of perspective, dude?
I mean, it takes experience, man.
It's a lot of years.
It's definitely, dude, rejection is a bitch, man. You get a lot. If you don't ask people to do the things.
I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. I've been rejected a lot. Yeah.
Rejection. No, but I'm saying like all I ever want to do is have people come on here and have conversations with me. And if this is representing the consistency, I'm going to continue to do it, regardless of who's going to say no to me, regardless of who's going to try to act like it's not important, because you know what, this is maybe who knows if this is my life's work or not, like this is, and I'll continue to say this, if I don't make it huge with this, if I don't make it big with this, if this isn't a thing that like breaks through and lots of people are impacted by it, not to say that it doesn't have value, because fuck yeah, it does. But if one person hears it who really needed to hear it, or maybe really heard a thing that like changed their real perspective on something, just by listening to me have a conversation with somebody who we can get on the same wavelength with, and we can vibe, and they can understand. And this is another part of me saying, like, when you were talking about getting nervous to come on here and chat with me, I was like, there's nothing to be nervous about, man. Like, this is because, like,
yeah, I don't know.
Maybe nobody will hear it. Maybe nobody will hear it, but what will happen at the end of it, you and I will have really bonded, and we'll have had something special. And that's all I ever want to do with my guests, is I want to just have something special, because this means something a hell of a lot to you and I. I can tell already. And we're only 40 minutes into it, but I'm saying, like, this is,
oh my God,
this is more fun that I have with people who I interact with on a daily basis. You know what I mean? Like, this is more important. And I think, like,
you all heard that.
All these kinds of conversations, the kind of conversations where you're like, really, really like, did I look at my phone this whole time we were here? Have I been doom scrolling this whole time?
No, I haven't either.
No. And maybe we need to remind ourselves to just have more conversations like this. And if they need to be on the record, put them on the record. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, I stopped. There is a comedian. You ever watch Craig Ferguson when he was on Late Night?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Remember the robot?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was voiced by a comedian his name's Josh Robert Thompson.
Okay.
Josh Robert Thompson, and please look him up, folks. Josh Robert Thompson is, other than Steve Morrison, and I'm putting this up there, just to put a little preface on this, my favorite stand-up comedians are George Carlin, Bill Hicks. 1, 2. Not because, and that doesn't even get into the political stuff, which that's all. As my friend Craig Legons would say, HNP, whole nother podcast. Josh Robert Thompson, other than those three, Bill Hicks, George Carlin, Steve Morrison, is one of the funniest motherfuckers I've ever seen. And he used to do the voice of Jeff Peterson. And he just does voices everywhere. He's been doing random voices on the Family Guy for 12 years. If you look up his IMDb, he's on video games, different cartoons. He does everything. But
dude, if you get a chance to listen to that conversation, the episode I did with Steve Morrison,
I have it saved already.
I would appreciate your feedback, but I
already have it saved.
I want to point out to you that I did talk to him about returning to comedy and wanting him to do stand-up. I talked about that, and I was like, come on. Like,
yeah,
he could go on tour. Not to say that he'd sell out everywhere, but like, he would definitely sell clubs. Like, everywhere where people listen to Preston Steve, because tons of people do.
You'd have to remember he's almost 60.
He could take me on tour too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you open up for him. And I'll be the MC. Hey, it's this other guy. No, he's almost 60. He's getting paid a lot, and he doesn't have to go anywhere. So, and I also want to say, for people who don't know, people on the radio work much harder than you think. So don't complain when they have time off. Anyway, Josh, between for a couple of years there when Periscope was the thing, he was doing a lot of live videos. And as drama-filled as that was,
Periscope. That was just
Periscope?
a Twitter thing, right?
It became Twitter Live or whatever you have to pay for now through Elon. But that's, again, an HNP, whole nother podcast. He said something that sticks with me to this day. Create to create. If somebody sees it, that's a bonus. I've been doing this stuff. I've been doing this stuff since 2008. With Dean since 2012. With Craig, he came on around 2015, 14. All of this stuff, which has afforded me to learn without going to school how to edit audio professionally, how to edit videos professionally, how to produce and direct, which I'm getting paid for now.
Nice.
It took a long time, but fame, money is not something I ever wanted to achieve. But doing it every day for a living, that is something I wanted to achieve. Can you hear my dogs?
No.
Okay.
Can you hear my friends yelling in the
No, I cannot. Okay, that's pretty good. But yeah, it was basically the turnaround for me was around 14, 15 when he started doing those shows. And it was very much, I got to stop worrying about people. I don't care about the numbers. I don't care about the feedback. Well, I care about the feedback. I don't care if I don't get any feedback. I do care that it looks good and it is done as well as I can do it. That's all I care about right now. If people find it, that's wonderful. That's a bonus. I got a job out of it.
Yeah.
I got no complaints now.
Yeah.
And I have you.
That's part of the, that's part of the representative of like continue beating your drum. You know what I mean? Continue to, that's why I beat the drum to the ring. That's why I take the drum to the ring with me. It's consistency. It's like, this is sacred to me. The art of me continuing to go in this ring and perform for these people is more sacred to me than any kind of something I could like confess my sins to somebody who, like, what makes that person better than me, right? So this beating of this drum, this speaking into this mic, this doing those bumps, it could be inspiring to one person. You know what I mean? It could inspire one person, even if let's say they stumble across it 10 years after I've already passed, and they go, "Wow, look at how he did." You know what I mean? I'll feel like an accomplishment into that. Like, this is
funny you say that because Josh Robert Thompson's bio on Twitter is posthumous award winner. I always loved that. I was like, yeah, probably. Hey, man, I never made a dime off Twitter. That's where I hold Twitter's what's the word? That's where I hold their meaning to me, underneath my paycheck. I have a very simple rule: as long as you're not being a racist, homophobic prick, I really don't care. I think those are easy rules to follow. Not for everybody, apparently. Oh, also, don't beat your wife, your ex-wife.
I had the show, and it was in a town where there was like farms everywhere, and when I finally arrived at the building, I just had to pee real bad.
Yeah.
I had to pee real bad when I got to that show, and I said to these farmers, I said, does a racehorse pee different than a regular horse? And I said, is the consistency different? Is anything else different about it? And they're like, no, it's the same pee. And I was like, I'm going to start saying I got to pee like a regular horse because I'm tired of people bringing race into everything.
Nice, Cory. Nice. That's pretty good, actually. I like that one. You should carry that. That passes for me. That passes.
Passed.
Sorry,
Yeah, man. I mean, I for sure. I have plenty of things that, like, I feel like I am the vessel that can make a living with tons of these things that I have, all these talents that I have, the comedy, the wrestling, the podcasting, all of those things can be like main revenue streams for me. And they aren't, but like, I'm not bitter about it. I'm not like, so that's why I stay consistent. That's why I continue to do these things, because like, for sure, like, dude, I want to act and I want to be in I want to be in shows, and I want to be on TV, and I want to act in film. Like that's something I want to do. Um, I'm gonna continue pursuing that, and I'm gonna continue writing jokes like this. I'm gonna show you this little fat little joke book that I be writing
No,
in. I'm
man.
gonna continue writing jokes. I'm never.
There you go.
I can't be somebody who is just a victim to mundane. You know, I, I won't be mundane cook.
Ah, nice. Well, just make sure you don't marry about 30 years younger, and she could have been. Anyway, I won't go any further into that one. Not as far as he went in. Hey, thank you.
PDF.
Very PDF. That's a shame because I used to like him, and I tried not to hate him, but I'm just like
he inspired me, and I still give him credit for like some of the speech patterns that I have. I got from my fandom of Dane Cook, like the way that I enunciate certain things, the way that I pronounce certain things, the way I say shit. I probably got that from Dane Cook.
Yes, I can hear it now. Oh shit! Yeah, there's not a Fortnite stream that goes by where my friend Matt and I do not reference monkey fucking a coconut.
Mm-hmm.
Not
for
one
name,
time.
you wrote monkey fucking coconut.
MFC, is that you? MFC? Not one time.
Get in.
That could be a melon. Looks like a cocoa nut every fucking week. And it's funny because he came on at the end of the last stream. He came on and he had just had his wisdom teeth out the day before, and he still threw in the monkey fucking a coconut. So
I actually Dane Cook is one of my dream podcast guests, and he has left me on red, but not left me on red of like he read it and said nothing. He responded to me saying he was going to submit my show to his agent to see if he could come be a guest on my show. And then I followed up, and then he said nothing else. So I'm wondering if it's a blow off completely, or if
I think that might be a blow off completely.
I feel like I could tell somebody that I'm submitting your show to my agent. The thing is, it's not. This is the strangest thing, and I this is another thing. I don't really mess with Twitter too much because of this sort of thing. Okay, so during the pandemic, they had very limited fans in the audience, right?
Oh God, yeah, of course.
And some of them were like students or like guests of the people or like people on their payroll.
Oh, wow. Oh, right.
So somebody tweeted like, why are the people in the crowd all singing along to Jericho's music? He's supposed to be a heel. and I think I responded to that, and I just said like, what we want to do is try to like make it, because that's what the fans were doing when the fans were paying to come to see the shows. Now now it's like these are all people who kind of work there and are paid to be there and are just like staying consistent with that, how that was going. And then Jericho quoted my tweet and he said, nobody gets paid to do that. They do it because they want to. You lose. He shit on me on Twitter. And then every one of his like the toxic opinion AEW fans. And I was like, I wasn't saying anything bad. I was saying like, we're in a time where like we want a shred of things seeming like they were before. And then he and then one of his fans, I think I was like, look, man, I responded. I was like, look, man, I wasn't bashing you in any way. Like Chris Jericho, my entire childhood was my favorite wrestler. He inspired me to want to be a wrestler, and I'm inspired now, and still am inspired by my love for Chris Jericho as a kid to want to be a wrestler. I said one of my all-time dream guests to have on my podcast, but I submitted to his agent, and his agent wrote me back and said she wouldn't even submit it to Chris because my podcast wasn't even a big enough deal.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Right. And I said that in a tweet. And then people were like, yeah, she was right. You aren't a big deal. You guys don't even know me. You're just faceless tweeters. Like what and I was like, I can't let this affect my confidence. I can't let this affect, like, who are these not big deal people calling me not a big deal? I'm definitely a bigger deal than these faceless jobbers.
No, that's the other thing with podcasting is the window kind of closed years ago. Once, and this is fine. I'm not saying how dare they, but once celebrities and people in the business that you were covering started getting sponsorships to do their own show, independents were done. There's no money in it anymore, and it's just the way it is. I don't suppose you could pause this again, could you?
Probably. So for the people who are only listening to the audio and not watching the video, this could be interesting. But the people who are watching the video and not listening to the audio, you might notice that things are a little bit different than they were 1.5 minutes ago, because now I'm wearing a hat on my head and I'm holding a root beer.
And I'm out of breath. What'd you do, Dan? Oh, I walked 5 feet that way.
We ran up and down the steps.
I ran up and down the stairs with the dogs. Yeah. And they mostly listened to me this time.
So I forgot completely, and I'll explain to you this hat. And then I'll just ask a couple more questions. We'll do a couple more things, and I'll send you off into the sunset with a hot dog and a handshake.
That's the only way to do it wrestling wise.
Yes. You see the logo on the top of the screen. It's a little picture illustrated by this amazing artist. And he drew me with a yellow hat. I've never had a yellow hat, but I've never worn a yellow hat before. But then this illustration of me is the logo for my podcast. I ought to wear a yellow hat on the show.
What?
For that's branding purposes. So every once in a while now, I'll either be wearing the yellow hat or I won't. But when I'm wearing the yellow hat, it's for branding purposes.
That's so funny. That didn't even occur to me. Didn't occur to me once. I'm so glad I didn't wear anything heavy on my logo, because I have 3 fans going right now. Mm-hmm. I have to have it quietly because
do you own a yellow hat?
I don't own a yellow toque. I own a God, what? I have a lot of hats, but I don't have a yellow one. I got one with a cheesesteak on it. I have a Phillies hat. I have a Phillies hat, a Sixers hat, a Phantoms hat, 2 Phillies hats, a Genesis hat, a Ghost hat, Ghostbusters hat. A lot of hats. Eventually, I'm going to wear hats like accessories because this hair is almost out of here. So I'm saying within a year or 2 now, it's going to be gone.
When did it start? When did it start thinning?
2020. 2020.
Not when you were 20.
No, not when I was 20. No, up until 2020, my hair would grow very long and it would just curl and puff out. And now it still curls and puffs out, but it's starting to, I could feel it right here on the top start thinning. So I'm like, enjoy this while it lasts. And then I'm just going to shave it. I'm not doing the Italian comb over like my father and my grandfather.
You can keep it like that.
No, because I get too hot.
Oh, you'd be like Pedro from Napoleon. I realized it was my hair that was making my head so hot.
it is exactly what it is. And I actually got a haircut last week because I was like, I can't, it's too hot.
I
Yeah.
want to recognize how fortunate I've been and how grateful I am that my hair has stayed this good.
Yeah. Thanks, Cory.
Uh,
Thanks.
I I don't know what I do. I'm
It's great, bro.
genetic. It's all going back to Genesis. We're in the land of confusion.
Speaking of bald,
Mm-hmm. I mean, people. I'm sure if you get it, if you get rid of it all, it'll look great on you. Like, and
I have a weirdly shaped head, sir. It's
you'll
not going to be good either way, man.
you'll get less Chris Farley and maybe more Kingpin.
As long as I don't get the aliens from Indiana Jones 4.
Okay, I never saw that. I never saw
Crystal
Indiana.
Skull.
No, never saw it.
Have large heads.
Have you watched The Boys? Or did you?
Yeah.
Did you finish that? Did you finish the last episode? Just came on. Season 4, right?
Yeah, it sucks all of a sudden, doesn't it?
Does it? No, I like it.
No, of course, no. That was sarcasm. No, I'm taking shots at people that didn't realize what it was a parody of. And
people are goofballs. Like,
I didn't know that. I hate this show. Bet you do.
No, the show is cool. I
love it.
It's a little too extreme in the violence department, but you know, it's a
just
show.
Make a snuff film, and I'm there.
It's a little make 'em up. It's not like a let's not get our political views too entangled into our little make 'em ups.
No, if anybody, apparently, if you read the source material, it's pretty much on. So I'm like, that's interesting.
Was that written by Robert Kirkman, or wasn't?
No, God, who was that written by? Graphic novel. See, I do this for my show, so I'm really quick with it. Derek Robertson and Garth Ennis.
I'm not going to know who that is.
No.
I'm not gonna.
I was not a fan until the show, so I didn't know any of this. Like, it's a lot like Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass, that movie came out, and I loved that movie. And it's a graphic novel. I'm like, I didn't know that was a graphic novel.
You know what else I liked a lot? That was a graphic novel, but written by Robert Kirkman. Not Walking Dead, but Walking Dead was good. I read the books after I watched the show, but Invincible.
I knew you were going to say Invincible. I knew that was coming. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that, and again, that is one I had not heard about until the show. I was like,
you watched the show?
Oh yeah. I'm still bitter at Amazon. I don't talk about it a lot. I'm still bitter at Amazon for canceling The Tick. The live action Tick was fucking astounding, and they ripped it out from under us. Like, nobody was watching it. I get it, but it's like, come on. That show is great. Give it back. Give it back, please. Why can't you listen for 10 minutes? 10 minutes. People want to know why it's crazy over here. It's because, like I said, I have a puppy. And dachshund puppies are assholes for longer than other puppy breeds.
Huh.
And I've always had dachshunds. But this one is, where'd you go? This one is, Albert here is testing my patience. He's got a big sister that does not help me. She's sleeping right now. Like, come on, help me. No. Go lay down. Go.
He's not bothering anybody.
Well, he was chewing something he shouldn't have.
Okay. Well, he wasn't bothering the show, is what I meant.
No, but he was bothering his teeth. We must do this again sometime, I think.
Yes, we've got to. And I for sure want to be a guest on Hell in a Cell. Let me jump on there. I love a good wrestle talk every once in a while. You know, when we talked about starting podcasts, you were talking about 2008 was when you started, and you said in 2012 was when you started the other show. I also started podcasting in 2012. I was doing a show with Rick and Matt Flowers. It was called Pod Trash, and it was just us. Like, we would talk about like whatever pop culture stuff and a little bit of pro wrestling, like what was on the television product of wrestling, and then that merged into an all wrestling talk show. So all we did was talk about wrestling. The show was called Rassle Rock, RASSLE Rock, and we did that show for 6-7 years, something like that. And then when the pandemic hit, and it was kind of like the wrestling was kind of hard to watch,
Yeah.
Rick stopped watching wrestling. So, and I think he was a little bit like, he was a little offended by like the firings of the talents. I mean, I was saying, like, you don't have to be offended for them. They're big boys and girls. They know what to do. Like, they're going to be fine.
And they're going to work. They're going to work again.
Yeah, they'll figure it out. And he just kind of faded away from being a wrestling fan, as far as watching WWE.
I get it, man. I mean, how many times on the fan side? Let's not even talk about. Did you mention this gentleman on air or off air? I don't want to cross any lines on your show, but there's a certain gentleman in Ohio that you mentioned earlier.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Not a good dude. Not a good dude. That's all I'll say. And that was in the locker room and in personal life, and he was kind of allowed to get away with it. And that's when I first was like, oh man, like nobody's doing anything about this. I'll do it. I ain't afraid of that guy. You're like a walking trash bag. I got you. And it's kind of been, man, it's been a letdown ever since.
Well, yeah, I mean,
do you want me to? No, I won't.
There are certain people who get like a certain like indie buzz from the internet, who think that like then they're now untouchable and able to get away with whatever they want and like treat people whatever way they want. And when they get called out on it, they completely ignore you and stop being your friend. And that's what happened to me. I said, hey, you only call me when you want something. And anytime we're around each other, you talk to me like I'm a fan and you're a wrestler and we're not the same. Like, yes, you're right about us not being the same, but like I have integrity and it seems like you don't. And then stopped answering my calls and stopped not writing me back.
There was a gentleman I used to be friends with, who was never in the wrestling business. And I was barely in the wrestling business. Let's preface that as well before certain people get upset. Settle down. I'm just saying he wasn't in the wrestling business. He was a fan. And he found us through listening. He found HIAC Talk Radio. And he said for years we were friends, but I didn't feel like that because it was either always a work or always treated like shit. Pick one. I would always play the game. And anytime that I didn't feel like playing the game, it was my fault. Oh, I don't have a sense of humor. I'm just not funny. And there was a falling out where I finally said, no, you crossed the line. That's it. We're over. And that person came back in. And I slowly let the door back open. And there was one day he started joking around again. And I don't even remember how the conversation happened or where it went. I know I tried to keep a cool head because I didn't want to upset him or appear like I was talking, causing a problem. But I did say, dude, it's hard to trust you. I'm always on my tiptoes with you because you always treat me like garbage. And he went ape shit. He told me it was my fault. I hate throwing the word around. He gaslit me. He gaslit me. He blocked me, and he unfollowed me. And I'm like, fair enough. Cool. At least I don't have to worry about that anymore. The trash took out itself.
I totally understand. People in wrestling think that like they can get away with something. They can get away with treating people a certain way, and then go, "Oh, it's just in kayfabe. I was in character. I was being a heel, brother. That's it." Like you can't continue to use that excuse. Like either you're a good person or you're not a good person. You can't pretend to not be a good person. Or you can't be a bad person and then pretend like you're a good person pretending to be a bad person. Like you stay consistent.
When you have to tell yourself several times to the echo chamber that you don't have enemies and you're a good person.
Look, man, I continue to say you can ask around about me. Not a lot of people will have things to say. I've never gone out of my way to screw anybody over. I've never hurt anybody in the business. I've never cheated. I've never lied. I've never connived in any way. That's not.
I should have.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, maybe I'd be making a very elite living if I had.
Oh.
But
nice.
Lanny Poffo once said to me,
Lanny,
I'll be myself or I'll be by myself. And
nice. I'm taking that one.
Never forgot that.
That's a good one.
That was 11 years ago.
It's kind of like that, actually. And like I said, create to create. I'm cool with that. I'm fine. I'm 40. I'm getting too old for this shit. I don't care. You know what? At this point, I'm starting to believe the three people who say it. I guess I'm a piece of shit. That's fine. Cool with that.
I mean, don't believe that.
Oh, I don't. That's the thing. That's the three people that say it.
Right.
There's another 50 that are like, no, you're not. Who cares?
It's exactly weird, man. And if you'll accept this challenge, I hope you do.
Oh boy.
If there comes a time when you're calling yourself stuff, when you're saying I'm dumb or I'm an idiot, or like if you do anything where you're talking bad about yourself to yourself, recognize that and stop. Because sometimes if you talk about yourself to yourself in a certain way in front of certain people, they'll think they can talk to you that way too.
Oh, interesting.
So I've cut all that parts out because I used to do it. And people used to call me stupid because I would call myself stupid. And no one calls me stupid now. Like I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy there is, but like I'm not going to come out here and tell you that I'm stupid when I know I'm not. I'm not going to come out here and tell you I'm funny and I'm smart, and then you talk to me for 10, 15 minutes and I didn't say anything smart or funny, and you'll be like, this guy's not only not funny and not smart, he's also a liar. So I'm very careful about how I advertise myself and how I speak about myself, because I want everyone else to have this too. Like if you can have a moment where you like stop yourself from shitting on who you are, because who you are could be somebody who brings lots of value, and you're devaluing your own self to yourself by doing that.
Somebody tried that the other day with me, Cory, and was saying, don't pretend you create content. I said, motherfucker, I get paid for this. Bye. That might sound shitty, but against you, who was purposely winding me up, don't care. You know, and I get paid for this. You don't. So I never said you weren't. Somebody is certain somebody that was not named before purposely tried to say I was lying about something. There's a lot of things that I am transparent. It's all there, man. I don't erase a lot. I don't delete a lot of tweets or messages, and I don't edit a lot of things out of the podcast. It's there.
Yeah, I don't edit anything. Everything I've said on this podcast, you can hear it. It's all out there. And comb through it, because if you want to find me saying something that would have been a racist thing or a hateful thing, I mean, you won't. But like, at least you'll have consumed all of the content that I've done, and maybe you'll learn something more about yourself, or maybe you'll change the way you look at certain things, or maybe your perspective will be a little zoomed out from what it currently is. I don't know. I mean, if I wasn't me, I'd want to listen to my podcast.
Hey, if it wasn't me, I'd want to be married to me.
Yeah, I would say, I get it. I've done this on stage. I get it. If I were you, I'd hate me too. If I were you, I'd be you. Like, I'm not you, I'm me. But looking at me, I'd probably want to be me so bad I'd hate me for it too. I get it. I fully get it. But like,
I use the reverse of that. And I said, I always say, and I know you're going to say, please know that I mean this sarcastically. It comes from a place of truth, but also from a place of, you ain't got nothing on me, son. When somebody says they don't like me or something, listen, as much as you don't like me, I hate myself 3 times more. You can't hurt me anymore. You ain't got nothing on me. And I mean it as a joke, but you know, a little bit of that is from the mental health.
It's a little cringy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, good.
I mean, for me, only I cringe.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, other people might go, "Yeah, you go, girl," but me, I'm like,
they better say you go, girl.
I don't want you to hurt yourself, man. I don't want you to hurt yourself.
I'm not gonna trust me.
No, but I'm saying like that. There's a fine line between words and actions. So,
that's true.
If you're hating yourself, you're going to sabotage your own success and your own joy for like self-hate or like self-harm. And I for sure wouldn't want to see that, because like the world could use more of what the positive drink that you are. Don't hate yourself more than anybody else could. Love yourself. You hate me. You know what? I love myself enough to cancel out that hate. That's the way
you killed my gimmick, man. It's all over now.
I didn't kill it. I changed it. I just changed it.
All right, fair enough. You changed it. All right, fair enough. That's fair enough.
And I wouldn't say I changed it for the worse. I wouldn't say I killed it.
I don't think so.
But I would say like my self-love can cancel out your dislike of me. I really don't even like saying the word hate.
No, it should be reserved. You're correct. It should be. A lot of people use it, and even I've gotten to this where I use it and I'm like, it really didn't need to be used there. It's insignificant to me, actually.
Well,
I didn't want to think that much on this show. Come on.
Quit making me think.
Make me think. You know, God damn it. We should wrap it up there, though, because we both have other shows to do.
Alyssa now, she instead of I think
I'm trying to tell you how to run your show now.
Through talking to me, she now says, "You know what grinds my gears?" Well, most of the time she would say, "Oh, know what I hate this," and like, but now she doesn't say that anymore because she knows I don't like that word.
You know what grinds my? You know what really turns my? You know what really twists my nuts? You know what really
grinds my gears? When they don't lubricate those gears.
Yeah, come on. You gotta keep them wet, and you gotta stay oiled up and move. By the way, everybody should watch the Genesis Land of Confusion video right now after the show.
Tell me what. Tell me why.
Tell you why. Have you never seen that video?
No, but I was just quoting the song. Tell
me. Well, because it's funny,
dude. Pull this clip up. If you can pull this up, please do. In Step Brothers, they have this the ADR, the voiceover is real bad in this one part. The part in the movie when she goes, "You should never wake a sleepwalker," and then he goes, "Well, because," but he's actually saying something else. Whatever the thing, whatever he's saying, but the words are coming out. Well, because
I have to go back and watch that scene after we're done because I'm really good at picking out ADR. Mm-hmm. And my favorite ones are movies. See, we can't do this right now. We have to stop.
We're gonna jump into a whole segment.
No, I gotta go.
Let's do a whole not now. We'll do it in the future, but it'll all be like the movie mistakes. Let's do a whole podcast about movie mistakes. Compile movie mistakes and ADR flubs, and boom, there's a whole
specifically a whole topic of where they actually edited out curse words from a movie before it gets released. Not TV censorship, box office.
TV censorship is the best though. Like, and I say this all the time. Pineapple Express, the made for TV edit. The Craig Robinson at one point has a scene where he says MRFer. He calls somebody a motherfucker, but they changed it to muckalacka. So I say muckalacka all the time. Muckalacka is like my go-to, and even so much so that my fiance says muckalacka all the time. She doesn't even know why.
I got it from you, you son of a god. All right, we got to wrap. I gotta go.
Okay, just a couple more really quick things.
Go.
Okay, so let's say hypothetically I've gifted you this podcast. But first, before I do that, I'm going to say everything. I like to do everything and have it be on the record. So this is kind of like a on the record thing. So I want to say to you that this conversation, this chat with you and I has meant so much to me, and it has made me feel so optimistic about what our future is. And I'm glad that we connected this way. And I want to let you know, if you ever feel like you don't have a friend, or if you just need a resource, you need somebody to talk to, please don't ever hesitate to call me. Don't ever hesitate to reach out to me. I would love to be there for you for anything.
True. I'm gonna wear out your DM, sir. I'm gonna wear that out.
Also, I say that to say, if there's anything you want to ask me or anything you want to say to me that's on the record, here's your chance. I know you're trying to rap, so you're trying to speed through.
You're much better than the wrestling business deserves. We'll just leave it at that for now.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Appreciate that. I know. Hypothetically, I've gifted you this show. This is your very first episode of your new podcast, Evolving with Dan 83. In a very Jerry Springer's final thought type of way, the most valuable takeaways, the most important things that will inspire people to be a better version of themselves through this conversation. What would those valuable takeaways be in a very Jerry Springer's final thought? Just a minute or so. Throw it to the fans. Throw it to the listeners, to the watchers.
It's not going to take a minute, but I want to be very serious about something for a second. In my life, there has never, ever been a time where I have felt better after getting a bidet. Get a bidet. I'm serious. I know this is coming off as a joke, and we're both smiling.
Dude, I all the way agree with you.
Get a friggin' bidet.
Mm-hmm.
This is not, I don't want to hear anybody, that's so no. It changes your life. When everybody was going out buying paper towels, well, some of them were toilet paper because whatever that had to do with COVID. I was like, well, I'm not fighting them in the grocery store. I'm going to get a bidet. Never looked back. Well, I've looked back to, make sure everything,
But
we get a bidet.
It's not smelly.
It's ooh.
I had a girl.
Never have a better day if you have a bidet.
I had a girl on my podcast years ago. She was a comedian from here, and she and we hung out at an open mic, and she came back here and we recorded an episode of the podcast. And she said she had just spent a year in Singapore or something. She was teaching kids how to speak English.
Wow.
And she was telling me about the bathroom situations. Everybody over there has a bidet, but over there they call it a bum gun. So she was like, get yourself a bum gun. And I have not looked back.
I'm now taking bum gun.
Bum gun. You say bum gun.
I have one right here built in.
Built in.
Thank you.
A chair bum gun.
Above average.
A bum gun average.
I'll come. Well, I better finish that sentence. I will come up with a better end of the show for the next time we do this.
Do you do any impressions at all?
We're not doing. I gotta go. I really
know, but I'm just saying. I usually say whatever the best impression you've got. I say the way we wrap up the show is I have the guests say in their best impression. The way we wrap up the show, we say, "Be fun, have safe, keep evolving."
Jesus Christ! You calling me on the? You know what? It's not my best, but I'll do it because of the shirt you're wearing. What is it again? Be fun. What is it?
Have safe. It's like
safe.
It's like
keep evolving.
Yeah, it's like be safe, have fun, but you're switching the words.
Hold on, I need a drink. Be fun, keep safe. Wait. Be fun, have safe, keep evolving.
You guys.
Yeah.
Everybody, if this is your first time checking out the show and you've enjoyed it and it's brought you any value, hit that like and subscribe button. Check out the archived episodes and leave us a comment. Let us know you exist. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Be fun. Have safe. Keep evolving. Show's over.
You guys.